Welcome to Moonshot Conversations, Jill. Lena and I are overjoyed to have you join us. Feels like an early Christmas present. In fact, we look forward to exploring the power of letting go.
So, an early Christmas present and an early Christmas present and an early New Year's present. I mean, we're so overjoyed to have you, Jill. You know, after speaking with you, I've been doing so much of experimenting with letting go, physical and emotional clutter.
Wonderful. Well, it's great to be here. It's very early here in the States, so I don't get up for everybody, but here I am to talk to your viewers, and it's just I love what you guys are doing. So I'm so honored to be here on your fabulous Moonshot Conversations, a name I love. So great.
Fantastic. So, friends, today's episode is titled The Power of Letting Go. Jill, talk to us a little about the concept of letting go. Why is it so powerful?
So letting go is really all about us being able to create space in our lives for the things that we want. So here's an easy way to think about it. I every time I get up and have coffee in the morning, I have a ridiculous cupboard full of mugs. And so if I ever wanted to purchase a new mug, there's just no room, there's no space for it. And so when I go in, if we go in and we have a cabinet full of mugs that are broken or chipped or old or we don't like them or they're not serving us in some way anymore, but we want new ones, we can't because our shelves are already stuffed with mugs that are not serving us. So we need to let go of some. And that doesn't mean, putting them in another cabinet or putting them in the basement. It doesn't mean accepting that we have to drink from mugs that are cracked or that it's normal to have a cabinet full of mugs that aren't serving us or that we just have to deal with it. It means taking the ones that are no longer right for us, serving us, that we like, and actually removing them fully from our lives, from our homes, so that we can refill that cabinet with mugs that we love. Now, obviously, people, ideas, beliefs is a little bit more complicated when we talk about letting go, but it's really the same concept. If we're stuck in an experience with another person, a love relationship or friendship, or even a mindset or the way that we engage with our children, for example, or the way that we think about parenting, or what we believe to be true about ourselves inside of that experience, if we're holding on to that, we don't have space to create something new, something that's going to serve us in a way that we want it to if what we're holding on to is not serving us now. So letting go can be really powerful for opening up our lives and really bringing us to a place that we want to be if we find ourselves someplace that we don't want to be. And so if we continue to hold on, we'll be stuck. So letting go really is freedom. It really is hope and it's possibility and it's really transformational.
So, Jill, is there a way of holding an object or an idea or a belief or a person and knowing whether you should retain it or whether you should let it go?
Well, I think there's lots of ways to be able to do that. I think, first of all, we have to like really be in tune with our bodies and we have to really be in tune with our guts and we have to trust ourselves that when we have that voice in our heads or when something feels off in our body, those are signs that are telling us something is wrong here. Something needs to shift, something needs to change, and that it's no longer for us to be okay holding on to that person, place, idea, belief. And we know it. The problem is for a lot of people is that when we hear that voice or we get that sensation in our body, either we don't like what it's telling us, so we choose to ignore it, or we don't trust it. We don't trust ourselves. We don't think that feeling is right, or we don't think we must be wrong on some level. And so we need to cultivate the whole sense of self-trust and being connected to our own bodies and being willing to do hard things, being willing to say, maybe this isn't right for me anymore. And I don't love that because I don't love change and I don't know what's coming after it. But what I do know is that I'm not going to get anywhere that I want to go if I don't accept and acknowledge what my own instincts, what my own body is trying to tell me about this thing. And so that comes from a very deep place of understanding and self-love and self-trust and self-respect, and really honoring that we have all of our own answers. And so when we're in a situation where, I've got this mug and it's not working for me, maybe it's my favorite mug, but there's a whole big crack in it and it's got to go. I don't love that. And so I'm going to reason in my mind all the reasons how I might be able to fix that. Or I'm going to say, thank you, mug. This was great, but I need to move forward and release you. And it's the same with people, and especially our mindsets and limiting beliefs and old wounds and old experiences, the things that trigger us the most, that make us feel most deeply uncomfortable, are really the things that we need to let go of the most. I once took martial arts and I had my sifu, they call them sifus. He said, you need to get in the ring and spar. And I said, no, I'm terrified. And he said, then you really need to get in the ring and spar. Because if you were to tell me, okay, no problem, I might move you to another experience. It's sometimes the hardest things to let go of that we really need to let go of, but we need to be very connected to ourselves first. Yeah.
Fantastic, fantastic. So, Jill, why is letting go so difficult for adults to do? And is there a way we could bring up our children so that letting go comes more easily to them?
So I think the reasons that letting go is so hard for so many of us is because it involves risk. So if we're holding on to something, it's because on some level we have value. It's offering us some value. And so if we let it go, well, then what? We don't really do well in uncertainty, right? We don't know what's coming behind it. If we let go of a relationship, we don't know if there's another one coming. If we let go of an idea or a philosophy or a way of parenting or a way of being in the world with our children, or a technique that maybe we've used, or a piece of advice, if we let go of that, then what? And so even though maybe we're unhappy or it's not working or we have discomfort, the devil we know is better than the devil we don't, right? At least it's something. We're afraid to do it. We don't. Ultimately, the reason we hold on is, I think, because we don't know the way forward. We don't know how to let go. We're afraid to let go. We don't trust ourselves to let go. All of it, again, continues to come back to this sense of self-love and understanding and confidence that tells us that no matter what happens, we will always be okay, even in the face of fear and uncertainty, because we have ourselves. And we know that we can always take care of ourselves and move ourselves forward and bring in the right solutions, find the right support, find the right way. But it's very hard because we're not, as human beings, wired for risk. We are, if you think about the cavemen, they went out into the woods and they heard a rustling in the bushes and they didn't stop and think, maybe I shouldn't go there. I mean, they kicked right into, it's biological. I have to protect myself. I can't be in danger. And for some people, risk presents as danger. So I think it's really hard to let go if you, A, don't have that self-love and self-understanding that grounds you in knowing you're okay. And B, you're not listening to your own instincts. And you're not able to push through that fear and uncertainty and sense of what is going to happen to me if I let go of this thing. I think the way that we can teach our children to be more likely to let go when they're in the wrong situation is, first of all, to love themselves, to trust themselves, to believe in themselves, to know that they are worth the things they want and the things they want are possible, and that they have the control and power to be able to move themselves to that. And once they have that foundation of self-love, that they are teaching them to embrace risk, calculated risk, not irresponsible, illogical risk, like I'm going to go to the top of this building and jump off and see what happens. That's not, and we all know that, right? We all know that silly risk. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is I'm in a job, I'm in a friendship, I'm parenting my child. Um, and I know this is wrong, but I'm scared to not do it that way. I don't know another way, so I'm just going to keep doing it. That's the kind of risk I'm talking about. It's saying, I may not know, but I know this doesn't work. And so I've got to let go of it so that I have space to bring something new in.
So it's amazing, I was doing looking at the research, and the research says that having to choose between uncertainty and unhappiness, most people will choose unhappiness over uncertainty. So we've got a question now from somebody in our corroboree. Nitin Munot is asking, how do we recognize and make a list of things we should let go of?
Yes. Well, that's such a great question. And I think, the answer can be different for everybody based on their life situation. And so I think so much of that is about going inward and really working to understand where those feelings are coming from and what you believe to be true about yourself in the world, and yourself inside the experience of parenting. So I always encourage people to do simple exercises, journaling, which I love, and there's lots of research that journaling is powerful, around filling in or completing sentences like, I believe, I am, I deserve, this is what's possible. In the context of X situation, I believe I'm able to X. It's really understanding what you believe, and then really looking deeply at whatever is going on in your body, or thinking about where you've struggled in your life, where you've struggled inside of that particular experience. Every time, what the interactions inside of that experience have looked like, and thinking, what are the things that I notice about myself over time that I happen to be clinging to that could potentially be in my own way? I mean, we all know these things about ourselves, whether we want to look at them or we don't want to look at them. I mean, I know that I am addicted to the 800 pillows on my sofa, and everything in my house needs to be in its place. And I know that that can be really irritating for people who want to come in and just live in my house. I know that's me. I know that's in my way. And that's a very superficial example, but it's what we know to be true about ourselves. And if we're not sure, then it's time to get the journal, open it up, take 10 minutes every single morning to just free form, write, ask the question at night, why am I stuck? Wake up in the morning, 10 minutes, done, every day for a week. There will be so many answers. What do I need to let go of? What is standing in between me and this thing that I want? That's the question, because whatever is in the middle is the thing that they need to let go of. And that's where the list begins. And I can tell you that most times that list always goes back to, what do you believe is possible and true about you? And so in the parenting context, I can tell you a story. I have a dear friend who has a daughter, and she wants a deeper relationship with her daughter, except that she can't stop telling her what to eat and what to wear and how to clean her room. And she noticed that her daughter, when she went up one night to tell her it was time for dinner, that her daughter looked panic stricken. And she thought, oh my goodness, when my daughter sees me, she doesn't want to hug me or talk to me. She's bracing herself for what's coming. I want this relationship with my daughter, but I'm here. What's here? I have to let go of the need for control. I have to let go of the need for my daughter to be perfect. I have to let go of my daughter to see the world or be just like me. So I have to let go of it being about what I want and be more attuned to what she wants and what she needs. So it's really having this sense of awareness in our own lives And then when it's looking at, I need to let go of control, I need to let go of feeling like, she has to be a mirror image of me, that then inspires her to say, where does that come from in me? Where does that belief that I need to have a perfect daughter, how is that about me and not about her? And that's the work. That's the work. And that's why sometimes letting go can be hard for people. But I also do think it could be easier than that. Like for me, I need to let go of the fact that sometimes my pillows are going to be on the floor. I have 2 dogs. They're not going to fluff up my pillows at the end of the night. So I need to be okay with that. And so it's really individual. But in my TEDx talk, I talk about 5 things that most of us need to let go of. Most of us need. And I know we're going to talk about them. But so yeah, that's how I would think about my list. And let the list be messy. All good.
So, Jill, can you speak about what do you mean by letting go of taking things personally? And when you let this go, what do you gain?
Yes. And this is something, I mean, we all do this, right? We all do it. Someone doesn't is mad at us, or someone treats us a certain way we don't understand, or they're not giving us something that we want, or they're not responding to us in the way that we want, or something isn't working in the way that we want. It has to be about us, right? But it so rarely is. And we know when it's about us. I know when I've done or said something to another person to trigger a response from them that may not be so positive. I know when I do that. But if somebody is coming at us with something, and again, I talk about this in my TEDx talk. For example, I had a boyfriend who didn't want to get married. I made that about me, but it was never about me. And so if we can learn how to take a step back when people aren't giving us what we want, or behaving poorly, or, shunning us, or to use today's words, ghosting us, or gaslighting us, or all those things people talk about. If we could take a step back and say, this is not about me. This is about the other person. Because I know logically, in my logical brain, if I was watching this from a movie, it couldn't possibly be about me. And I think where the confusion can come in is, even though it's not about us, it still affects us. It's very different than it being about us. I liken it to, we're walking down the street, somebody we don't know comes up from behind us and starts to hit us in the head with a bat. How could that be about us? We don't even know this person. It's a stranger, right? But it still hurts. We still feel it. So we have to figure out, how do we extricate ourselves from this person who's just for absolutely no reason, because it's them. It's on them. It's what they're doing. And so a lot of times we get stuck trying to figure out why they're doing what they're doing. The antidote really is for us to figure out why we're doing what we're doing. Why am I standing there while some stranger hits me over the head? Why am I not walking or running away? Why am I staying inside of this experience where someone is behaving badly and lashing it out at me, or making it affect me in a negative way? What am I going to do about that? That's in my own well-being, instead of take it on as it being my fault. The work is, how do I problem solve to get myself to a safer, more positive, more productive place, whether with this person, place, thing, or experience, or mindset, or without it. And so when we stop taking things personally, we have a lot more energy for our own lives. We really do.
So Jill, Nitin has said thank you very much for your solution. He's going to do a journaling on letting go, 10 minutes every morning. And Girija's got a question. She's asking, even if we let go or walk away from something from a self-care perspective, and yet we end up feeling like we failed somehow, how do we manage the emotional turmoil?
Yeah. So first of all, to be clear, self-care is one thing. self-love is completely different. Self-care is really important part of self-love. It's the massage and the manicure pedicure and the walking away and the sleeping and the eating good. But self-love is all about self-understanding, self-acceptance, self-embrace. How do I do all of these things so I can move forward? And so when you are inside of that emotional turmoil, the thing to do when you're in that is to just be there instead of trying to walk away from it or race it up or ignore it or think there is a way to solve that. The only way to solve that emotional turmoil is to crawl inside of it with a very large pizza and a huge box of tissues and your favorite Lifetime television show or whatever it is. And you need to just experience it. Because if you don't experience that emotional turmoil, you're not going to get to a deeper place to understand how you got into the situation that created it, that led to it. We've got to have our feelings. This is such a huge challenge when it comes to letting go, because again, letting go involves risk, it involves grief, it involves loss. Even if we know what we're letting go of is best for me, we're still going to have a feeling about it. And we can't rush ourselves through those feelings. We can't ignore them. We must deal with them. When we don't deal with them, when we don't feel them, that's when we continue to invite the same things into our life, and we keep replaying the same things over and over until we allow ourselves to feel it. So you have to crawl into that emotional turmoil and just be there. Yes, exercise self-care while you're in there, but do the work of self-love too. And that is getting in front of the mirror and asking yourself the hard questions. How did I get here? Why did I choose it? What about me attracted it to me and me to it? And how do I let go of it so that when I move forward, I don't make the same mistakes. I can make different choices that are going to serve me in a more productive way. But first, I'm going to give myself some grace and I'm going to honor my feelings. I'm going to have them. I'm going to cry and I'm going to binge eat and I'm going to scream into a pillow and I'm going to do all these things that I need to do. And I'm going to meditate and walk and put my feet in the dirt and do all those good things too, that are ultimately, because one day what happens is you wake up and you don't feel quite so desperate when you take the time to experience the feelings. So crawl into it. Those feelings, that emotional turmoil, that is your gift. That is ultimately the lesson that will show you the way forward. But you've got to be in it. You've got to go there.
Wow, that's fantastic, Jill. So, Jill, what are some of the common wounds that children develop, even from well-intentioned parents?
Oh my gosh. How much time do you have?
And another 7 minutes.
There are so many. Abandonment, body image issues, leaving and thinking, what I want isn't available to me. I'm not enough. I'm not good enough. Overachieving, striving, and never getting anywhere. Choosing unhealthy behaviors and actions. And, being so busy tending to seeking a parent's approval or love or positive input that there's no time spent on their own lives. There's any number of reasons why or how we get wounded from our very, very well-intentioned parents. Parents do the best they can. I mean, when we're children, it's not even about truth or reality. It's about perception. How do we perceive that mother who is taking that food away from us because she thinks we've eaten too much? Or that father or parent who's saying, no, you can't do that, or you shouldn't have done that. How do we receive it? So there's any number of reasons why we have these wounds, but that's the work of our life. And it always comes back to self-esteem. It always comes back to self-love. How do we see ourselves in the world? What is the work we are going to take away from our childhood around beliefs and what we believe is possible for us and what we deserve? So
I really hope all parents are listening to you, Jill, so we can stop generational pain.
yes. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, Jill, Lina says you spoke to her about a 6-part process of letting go when she interviewed you for our Corroboree platform. Could you please explain the process to all those watching us today?
Sure. So this is a very, very intuitive process. And I actually started talking about it when I was talking about crawling into our emotions, and about my friend who with her daughter. So it really starts with cultivating a foundation of self-love. And then as you look to letting go, it's an awareness, the piece of how do I know it's time to let go? So it's having what I call an epiphany, that moment, that aha moment that says, it's time now. It's time to move forward. It's time, that epiphany moment. Oh my God, look at the look on my daughter's face. Wow, I need to change, right? And then I need to have a feeling about that. And I need to experience those feelings. Because if I don't, then I'm going to keep making the same changes. So the second step is taking that time to experience those feelings and also be productive, where you're taking accountability for your own role as well as your lessons. And then it's looking to see, what do I want? What's the intention here? What do I want from this relationship? How do I get it? What else do I need to let go of? I need to let go of being controlling. What are the beliefs behind that? Because I know there's more. So what else do I need to let go of? And then it's putting together a plan, an action plan, a plan that allows you to actually take all that inner self-examination and move forward to create change, to let go, to open space so something better, more productive, and more positive can come in and propel you forward. And that's a very high level. That's the fastest I've ever done it.
So I hope everyone's listening, and especially listening to what you said earlier, which is you will repeat patterns unless you actually go through this process.
Yes, absolutely. And listen, you want to go through this process, because if you go through this process, your life will be better. Your parenting will be better. Your relationships will be better. There's every incentive in the world to take this time to do what may feel uncomfortable for some, and to really go on an exploration of yourself. We don't take the time to do that enough. And doing it in a loving, graceful way that honors. It's not about self-punishment. It's not about self-loathing. It's not about you're bad. It's about, how can I make the improvements that I need to make so that I can have a better life, and that I can model a better life for my child. And the whole process of self-discovery is not punitive. In fact, there's so many parts of the process that I just laid out in 13 seconds that are joyful and exciting, and have you reimagine how your life could be and who you could be inside of it, and how your children could experience the world as a result of your shift, and what they can learn watching you go through that shift. Because we don't escape it, none of us. We all have to shift and change in our lifetimes, many, many times. Why not teach your children how to actually do that, so they're letting go as they need to let go throughout their lifetimes, so that their lives can be as wonderful as yours will be when you learn how to do that.
Fantastic. So, Jill, Lina and I have explored the science behind the law of attraction. In fact, Lina was talking to me about the discussion you both had on the power of intention and the reticular activation system.
Yes.
Jill, can you explain how the power of intention has helped you, and how do you use your knowledge of the reticular activation system to attract things you want in your life?
Yes. Gosh, it's such an important subject. The power of intention truly is the power of. And I know, for example, if I get stuck in a situation, if I am spinning on somebody else's bad behavior, which we all do, right? I have to stop and ask myself, what do I want? What is my end game? What is my end goal? This is also part of my process. What am I getting from spinning on this other person's bad behavior? If my intention is to forward my own cause, and deal with my own issues, why am I over here? Such a powerful question. And as importantly, how do I get back to me? By resetting my intention. My intention is not to spin here. My intention is to get X in my own life. So setting your intention is extremely grounding, and it's a great way to give yourself, to refocus yourself back into what it is that you want the outcome of a particular experience to be. And so what happens with our RAS, and I'm not a neurologist or a brain scientist, so what I know at my very preliminary, 5-minute USA Today level is that our RAS basically filters the gobs of information coming at us through every single sense we have. And it says, I know your brain can't handle all of this information. I mean, thoughts alone, almost 70,000 a day. So I'm going to filter it for you. And so I'm going to filter it based on what you are thinking about and what you believe and what you are consciously focusing on. So it's the reason why if you're looking for a new car, all of a sudden you're going to see all these car advertisements out of the blue, or the car that you like, all of a sudden you're going to see a million of them on the road because you have said to your RAS, show me the cars, because that's what you're thinking about. So if you're thinking about all the reasons why you can't, or you're not worthy, or you don't deserve X, Y, Z, your RAS is saying, got it. Here is proof for all of that. But if you say to yourself, I want this, I can do this, I can have this, your RAS is going to show you proof of that. And that is why it's not random that we see the things around us all of a sudden that we're focused on. It's our very intelligent bodies and brains saying, you're feeding me what you want. You're giving me the filters. It's like a computer search. Like we are inadvertently putting into the Google bar, search RAS on this. And that's a very high level, incredibly non-scientific way to explain it. But it's how I make sense of it. So when I start to find myself going down that slippery slope, I stop myself and I say, stop it. My RAS is really, really taking me to heart right now. And I need to reverse course, change the language that I'm using to talk to myself, change my thoughts, say them out loud, write them down. What do I want? What do I want to be focusing on? Because that's what my RAS is going to go, okay, so you want to see this. Got it. And then I'm going to start to see things that are going to support that more positive experience. It's going to propel me in a different way. And we need both. But the key is to have an awareness of when we're lingering too long in that dark side, in that negative side, and being able to use our power of intention to reground and refocus and reset the search that we're putting into our RAS Google.
So Jill, we've run out of time. The corroboree is asking so many questions, but we just don't have time to ask you these questions. But I will get across and ask you for the answers so I can respond to them. I'm just going to read out one of your readers' book recommendations for Big Wild Love so everyone can hear it and everyone can go and get the book. Jill Sharon Murray's engaging, insightful, and bittersweet guide to Big Wild Love is much more than a self-help book. Murray's honest portrayal of her search for love and ultimate self-love draws you in from the first page and doesn't let go. So he's not letting go, or she's not letting go. Best friend and therapist rolled into one, Murray shows us how to recognize and change patterns that are holding us back from our lives. Her clear steps and research work, and she is just plain funny. Highly recommended. Just in one sentence, Jill, tell us what Big Wild Love means.
Big Wild Love is self-love with intention. It gives us the courage and the confidence we need to be bold in our lives and to take the risks we need to take associated with letting go so that we can always let go for the things we want most.
So I don't want to let you go, but we're out of time.
It was so fun. I loved it. You guys. I love what you're doing. I think this is fabulous. And I really, truly hope it's helpful for your for your viewers, and it was so fun. And I will get up at 4:30 in the morning anytime for you both.
Thank you so much, Jill. And friends, Jill is all the way from US, and it's very early in the morning from where she is currently, just 1 hour away from New York. So thank you so much, Jill. We enjoyed this interaction, and me and Lena are definitely going to be grateful for what you have done for us and for our corroboree. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Jill.